your promised land, our promised land. There's seasonal promised lands where you're going to step into a season of your life where you're leaving Egypt. You're leaving a period of your life where it sucked. You were working more for less. You had less. You were getting taken advantage of. You were getting beaten, abused. It was a hard period of your life. People were dying. You were out of money. You had no money. Like you were in a dead zone. I would call that Egypt. And then you had to fight through the sea. And then you were wandering. Some of us get so irritated. I know I've been there where we're so irritated and doubtful and disobedient, and we're not following. And it's not even the obedience. We're not following the grace of God. A little bit of Bible study. How's everybody doing? Good?
Is it the same Zoom link, or do we have to hop on for the call?
Oh, bro, I do everything simple. Same Zoom link.
Okay.
Simplification. That's another thing you can write down in business. Anybody that's super wealthy loves speed, and speed loves simplicity. Like you could automatically just be faster and do a lot more in business by simplifying your business. You know what I mean? You don't even like, they got a sports saying. It's like fast feet eat, slow feet don't eat. Like I like simple feet eat because like I know I ain't the fastest, but I'm really good at making things super simple, which then obviously increases my output, my speed ratio to output. So money loves speed, man. Wealthy people love speed. When somebody's fast, like the insurance licensing course, when somebody's fast with that, like, yo, I got this thing done. I'm like, oh, my boy's fast. This girl's fast. We about to do something special. You know what I mean? Like speed, communication, and these things. But man, I'm super excited. I'll throw up a quick prayer with you guys real quick. Father God, thank you for bringing us all here together today. I don't know what everybody's struggling with, but I know we all struggling because everybody on social media likes to pretend like they ain't. But I know I am. I know they are. I know anybody that's being honest is. And whether it be in their personal lives, family lives, or business life, God, we know that you are the God above all things. You are the name above all things. We could care less what this world is trying to throw at us, what weapons are trying to be thrown at us. We know the weapons are going to be thrown at us. I pray that even bigger weapons come because I love a fight. I love getting bigger. I love getting stronger. And I know that pairing with you and partnering with you, we're only going to glorify your name even more. Through your name, through your power, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. In Jesus' name, we believe. Amen. So here's what I was studying and this has been on my mind for probably the last 2 or 3 years. I've gone through the book of Numbers and Deuteronomy and studying the Israelites leaving Egypt. So there's a good movie, and it is, let me look it up here, Moses movie, Leaving Egypt. Like an absolute fire movie and pretty biblically accurate too, from my understanding. It's called Exodus, Gods and Kings. And it's a fire movie. And I don't know if any of you guys have watched it. It's like, for me, I like to watch, obviously movies for life lessons and things like that. But studying this movie, guys, is life. It is our life. It's your life. It's my life. And there's seasons within your life that you are going to be in Egypt. In Egypt, for the Israelites, they were enslaved by Pharaoh, mistreated, literally enslaved. Think of the most horrific form of slavery, malnourished, taken advantage of, a complete slavery. There's no other way to explain it. And then Moses was selected by God, who was an adopted son, because I believe Pharaoh had ordered like all young men were to be, killed, eliminated. And his mom, and I forget her name, I don't know if it was Sarah or something like that. She put him in a little river, and one of the Pharaoh's daughters found him and took him in and adopted him. And he was raised by the Pharaoh. So the man that was opposing the Israelites, God's chosen people, and trying to kill God's chosen people, would end up being called by God, who was an Israelite himself, to rescue the Israelites from Egypt. Take them out of Egypt, cross the Red Sea, do all of these miraculous things. Imagine freeing hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, from slavery, from a nation, going to essentially like, you almost think of like war with them, and then crossing an actual sea with them. And then to leave there, doubt God, and wander a desert for 40 years. And none of that is actually what I want to talk to you about. I just wanted to give you preface to like what I actually wanted to talk to you about was they were promised a new land, the promised land. And for me, what I wanted to share with you guys today was your promised land, our promised land. There's seasonal promised lands where you're going to step into a season of your life where you're leaving Egypt. You're leaving a period of your life where it sucked. You were working more for less. You had less. You were getting taken advantage of. You were getting beaten, abused. It was a hard period of your life. People were dying. You were out of money. You had no money. Like you were in a dead zone. I would call that Egypt. And then you had to fight through the sea. And then you were wandering. Some of us get so irritated. I know I've been there where we're so irritated and doubtful and disobedient, and we're not following. And it's not even the obedience. We're not following the grace of God and allowing his grace and our faith to kind of, coincide so God can kind of guide us and get us to where we need to go faster, in a sense. And so I don't know where you're at right now. I don't know if you're in Egypt, you're going through the sea, or you're about to wander for a couple years because who knows what's going on. Maybe you need something from that desert. Maybe you need some clarity from that desert. But in the conclusion of the desert, God sends out scouts, lets Moses know you're going to the promised land. You're going to the promised land. We got a promised land. We've got a land set aside for you where the milk flows, honey is flowing. You're going to have fruit, food. It is the best land in the world. I've got it set aside for you. Your blessing is coming. It's like one of my sayings where I told people, spin the block, your fruits are coming. The roots are growing, your fruits are coming. And what I wrote down here, and I liked it, I got to make sure I read it. Your new dreams are going to cost you new devils. This new promised land is going to cost you new devils. And the reason I said this is because when you read through Deuteronomy and Numbers, there were scouts sent out to the promised land that prevented some of the people from even entering the promised land because they doubted God. God already promised them the land. He didn't promise there wouldn't be weapons. He didn't promise there wouldn't be obstacles, there wouldn't be adversities. So there were giants in this land. And the scouts come back and they said, we can't take the land. I was like, what are you talking about? If God said the land is for us, the land is for us. It doesn't matter who is in the land. He said, no, you don't realize there are giants. These guys are related to Goliath. We ain't going to be able to take this land. And I don't know how many of you are entrepreneurs. You guys are in business and sales. But like for me, being in business, being able to talk to you guys about business, I look at like literally living this right now in the last couple of months of my life, leaving the land I was most familiar with. Sometimes people will choose to wander the desert for 40 years because you're familiar with the devils in the desert. You already familiar with the bad people in the desert. You're familiar with the bad leads in the desert. You're familiar with getting taken advantage of in the desert and people telling you, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. Like you're already familiar with the chaos and the devils and the enemy and the obstacles of the desert that you're wandering in right now. You guys following with what I'm saying? I'm trying to use it as like simple as possible. So because of your familiarity, like people will say like love, like knowing the devil that you're with is better than getting with the devil that you don't know. But I was like, who cares about the devil that you don't know? The same God that was with you in Egypt was the same God that helped you pass through the sea, is the same God that was with you when you were wandering for 40 years in the desert. Who even survives 40 years in a desert? So he was the same God yesterday, got you out of slavery. 5 years ago when you didn't think you were going to make it, when somebody was supposed to die, when you were out of money, when you didn't know how you were going to survive. Here's cool math. How many of you guys are over 25 years old or close to 25 years old? There's a lot of you. So I'm going to just do some math with you guys real quick to show you. So if you're 25 years old, you take 365, multiply that by 25. You've been alive for 9,125 days. How many of those days did you think you were going to be out of the game, destroyed? You lost it all. Something horrible happened. Something like you just got news. This just happened. This just happened with your business. This just happened with your personal life. This just happened with a relationship because you guys are all, looks like men. Love of your life just left. You just got cheated on. This just happened. Something happened with a child, with a miscarriage. Like it was the end of the world. 9,125 days. And you're still here. I measure my victories by waking up. So I look at it as like, no matter what I went through, I know who was with me. I know who's been with me. I know who's going to keep being with me. So I don't care what devil is coming with the next level up. I know what God I'm bringing with me to the next level up. You understand what I'm saying? And it's easier said than done because I've been scared the last month, the last 2, 3, 4 months of planning out, building my own business and then having to find people that I can build it with and having to look them in the eyes and say, we're going to figure this out. I don't know how, but I know who. The God that got us out of Egypt. The Egypt we were in. We weren't literally in Egypt. I wish we were. The pyramids look kind of cool. I want to see them. The Egypt that we were in. And I'm not even talking, because it's like, I think sometimes people will like use the Bible to just like call the old people in their lives devils. I'm not even calling the old people in my life from my past season that I would label as my Egypt. This isn't a message against them. It's a message for them. You know what I mean? It's like God used us all. And I don't look at myself as above or below. And that's not what I'm encouraging anybody else to do. What I'm looking at, I think it becomes an Egypt that you're subjected to and that you're choosing when you choose to stay with the devil that you're most comfortable with. I want to go where God's calling me, not where God called me. Because where God called me, there must be an expiration to that blessing if he's calling me to a new promised land. The fear of the devils of what could be will keep you in Egypt. And it's so crazy because once the scouts came back and they said, Moses, we ain't going to be able to do it, dog. We ain't going to be able to do it. Like the way it's set up in the new place, in the new land that you said God called us to, like it's completely overran. You know what I mean? Like it's complete, like it's too crazy. We're not gonna be able to do it. There's giants here. These devils, we don't even know how they operate. They said it would be better if we just go back to Egypt. They were praying to go back to slavery, to go back to the pain that they were used to because they were comfortable, because as humans, psychologically, you get comfortable with what you're used to. Any dictator that you study. I remember doing a research paper on Joseph Stalin, and he killed millions of people. Not a very good man whatsoever. Killed millions of people. And I remember he had some type of philosophy in regard to torturing people and become like brainwashing them. And he took this chicken and he plucked its feathers. He's plucking its feathers. He's plucking its feathers. The chicken is crying out. It's in pain. And then he feeds the chicken. And he said something along the lines of, no matter how much you torture a living creature, if you feed the creature just enough, it'll come back. It'll come back. It'll come back. I can't be a chicken. Like, you understand what I'm talking about? Like you can't lower yourself as a human being to the mental complexity of a chicken. Of even though that piece of my life, that relationship, that environment, that season of my life tortured me so much, but it fed me a little bit. She was good to me a little bit. They were good to me a little bit. At least I knew I had a little bit of this. At least I knew I had a little bit of that. If you choose the comfort of the old devils, if you choose the comfort of the old obstacles, if you choose the comfort of the old adversities, that's all you'll ever have. That's all you'll ever know. You will live there. You will stay there. You will never experience anything new. That will be the end of your life. The sum of your life will be they chose comfort. 99.99% of people choose the comfort of Egypt. There's no other way to put it. Like, you figure out what you can withstand and then you stay there. But every single human being in this life has opportunity for more. You have opportunity for more. What it's going to cost you is it's going to cost you your courage to step out and have faith, to be courageous, to believe not only in God, but believe in yourself, that you can withstand the new pain. You can withstand the new obstacles. You can go where God is calling you and he's going to make a way. There's no other way to build a business. Anybody that's an entrepreneur and doesn't attest to some form of faith, it's impossible. When you're building a business and you're pursuing great things in life, you literally take it day by day. Day by day. You're marching up to your promised land, and there's 1,000%, there's giants in front of you. 1,000%. New devils, new levels. There's giants in front of you. And a piece of you is going to be thinking, well, what if we went back to Egypt? What if we went back to what we knew? I would think less of a man if he didn't have some form of fear, some form of, well, at least I knew this. At least I knew that. When you allow that voice to win and you feed that voice, and that becomes the dominant voice in your life, that's all your life ever becomes. And I wrote here, if you make a home with the devils you know, with the comfort that you're familiar with, your life remains there. So that's the biggest thing for me, for my life. And I don't know how you're thinking, what you're thinking, but I'm hoping to convey the message to you today that you're thinking to yourself, if you want more, you got to do more. Your new life, we've all heard it 1,000 times. Your new life is going to cost you your old life. Your new life is going to cost you your old devils. Old devils are gone. It's new devils to level up. I probably highlight this too much, but this is the only mentor in my life I feel like right now. And I remember he's posting a story this morning, and it's the same exact thing that I'm talking about. There's new devils. The height that you want to go to, there's a direct correspondence in the adversities and the challenges you're going to face. And I think it'd be slightly amusing, this actual example, but it's a reality. 16 years ago, he starts building his business to now, this last week, 2 weeks ago, his yacht was out on a cruise or something on the island somewhere, and some temporary captain essentially kind of wrecked the yacht on some rocks, and it tore up the bottom. No idea how much money that cost. I can't imagine it. I have no idea. But there's a price. And I'm not on here talking about materialism and yachts and all that, but there is a price for your new life. It's the old devils. It's the old habits. It's going to come with new habits. It's going to come with new devils, new relationships, you stepping outside of your comfort. And the best part about stepping outside of your comfort is you don't know what's going on, dog. Your senses go up. It's anxious. It's uncomfortable. You sleeping a little different. You moving a little different. That's all right. Look how far you've come. Look how far God has brought you. Imagine how far God wants to take you. That's all that goes through my mind. I'm like, how are we going to get the money for this? How are we going to get the people for this? How are we going to get the systems for that? How are we going to figure that out? I don't know, but I know I've gone 9,125 days, and we figured it out so far. Look how far we got from food stamps and food bank lines. I remember my Egypt 10 years ago was the food stamp card getting declined. That's how down and out we were, bro. You ever been in a Walmart and a Giant Eagle and your food stamp card get declined? It's a different level. And it's still a blessing. We live in an America where they have an assistance program, where you could even have food stamps. I've been to parts of the world where there is no assistance, dog. You might just die today. There is no assistance. You have to find a way. And that's the beauty of life, is appreciating what you have. Appreciating your Egypt. I look back, and without my Egypt, without my Red Sea, without my wandering season, and life is secular. It's not like there will be another Egypt in my life. There will be another place, another season, another time, whether it's relationships, business, or something where it's you are stuck and you are losing and you're getting beaten. It's slavery. And you have to escape. And then you have to go through this journey through the sea, and it's got to split, and you got to fight, and then you got to wander and be patient, be faithful for God to deliver. And there's another level of it's the cycle of faith, of life, of entrepreneurship, all of it. The Bible puts it right in front of us. This is how it's supposed to be. You're over here praying to go straight from you want to skip Egypt, you want to skip the sea, you want to skip the wandering, you want to skip the giants outside of the promised land, and then what? What do you have? Because when you really break all of that down, all of that development, all of that evolutional growth, you realize the real blessing was never the promised land. The real blessing was the relationship and the faith and who you became in going through the journey. Fall in love with the journey. Fall in love with the process, because you're going to look back to all those door knocks. You're going to look back to all those horrible leads you called. You're going to look back to the people that stabbed you in the back, the money that you lost, the relationships, the girls that cheated on you, the guys that cheated on you, all of the adversities, the devils that you went through, and you're going to have a love for them. I fell in love. And people are going to watch this and be like, what? I fell in love with the old devils because they made me. Everybody that talked down on me, that doubted me, that hated me, that put me in a bad position, that tried to take advantage of me in business, that talked bad about my parents being away, that made me feel less for growing up, for having less, and every single devil, every single weapon that came against me made me stronger. People pray the enemy away and they pray the Egypt away, they pray the challenge away and don't realize you pray your strength away. Kind of like in the business call. You defer risk, you defer reward. You defer the devils, you defer the promised land. You only get the promised land with the devils. You want a bigger promised land? No, it comes with bigger devils. You can't have one without the other, dog. They sit down at the same table. You want to sit down at the table of the biggest blessings? Just know they come with the biggest burdens. It's going to cost you everything. That's what I'll leave you guys with. It's going to cost you everything. I remember that used to be my interview process when people would be like, what's it cost to get involved in life insurance? And I would try to scare the heck out of them. And I'd say, it's going to cost you everything. Money is nothing. It's not going to cost you money. It's going to cost you everything. Your sanity, your life. That's what it costs. That's what it costs. A relationship with God, it costs you everything. To wake up and say, not me. I ain't the who, you. Not what, not how, who? God. That's how. What's it going to cost? Everything. I love and appreciate you guys. I hope you have a blessed day. I pray God continues to make a way, because he got to make a way, because we running through seas right now. We escaping giants right now. We fighting giants right now. I feel like I'm in all 3-4 seasons right now. I feel like I'm in like every single season is hitting me right now, dog. And that's real life. That's real entrepreneurship. All these entrepreneurs that talk about they in the promised land the whole time, that's called a scammer. So I don't know anybody that's in the promised land the whole time. If Elon Musk has problems and he's got, adversities and obstacles, everybody in between that says they don't is a liar. So you know what I mean? Let's go. Let's have a blessed day. Peace, y'all.